Hey guys, what's going on? Kunal here, Bulls on Wall Street. Hope everybody is having an awesome day. I'm over here in Michigan at my mom's house visiting for the month. I've got my high school reunion coming up, so I'm holed up at home, waiting for my buddies to get into town so that we can have a little fun for the week. And so pretty excited about that. If anybody's in Michigan, you let me know. Want to talk to you guys a little bit about IPOs. IPOs have been the theme of this year. So every year there's a theme in stocks, right? So last year for part of the year, it was pot stocks, right? And you had CGC, TLRY, so on and so forth. Before that, right, the Chinese video companies was like a theme, and we were day trading them every single day. So like Chinese video companies, pot stocks. For a while this year, remember when software stocks were really flying around, right? Like Twilio and so many of these names, that was a theme. And so the theme of right now has been IPOs, right? I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of Beyond Meat, right? That's been like the big one that, we've been trading really every single day since it came out. So the themes have been IPO. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about how to make sure that you're keeping track of which ones are coming out. And then, of course, most importantly, how to play them. And we're going to talk about some of the trades that we've been doing. So big thing for us, we have an awesome chat room. And so every day in our chat room, people are always kind of posting in what is going to be hot, right? So we have a guy named Sal in there, and he's always posting about IPO. So he'll be telling us like, hey, 5 minutes, this thing is going to go live. So I always put it on my list. But one thing that I like to do, every single morning is just head up on IPOscoop.com. You can also go on the NASDAQ's website, and you want to start to just look and see what's going on. So a couple things that I'll do on here is I'll look at the IPO calendar, and I'll take these tickers, and I'll start putting them on a list. Like yesterday was Crowd, today was Fiverr, so on and so forth. Now, when I'm looking at the IPO calendar, a couple things that I really want to look for is, number one, like how many shares are they releasing? Obviously, the smaller the number, the more explosive it can be, right? Like how much are they locking up in terms of the float? The ones when they lock up the float big time, those are the ones that can really go. So a lot of times what they're going to do is they're going to lock up the float, then they're going to loan out the shares so that people can actually short them. And then you start to get like a really, really big squeeze, which is what we saw today in Fiverr, which was really our big kind of crusher. So Fiverr, is the website where it's like you can come on and say like, hey, I'm willing to give you a hand job for $5. I'm willing to make you a business card for $5. I'm willing to do an illustration for $5, voiceover, whatever, right? But, the whole purpose is like you can get, it's the gig economy, right? You can work from home, sell your services for $5. And, they have value add stuff too. It's pretty cool. I actually use it. My email signature, like business card, I had somebody make it for me for $5. And it actually looked out pretty good. I actually had a couple people do them. And I picked the best one, and it cost me $5 each. It was awesome. So I've used this in the past. It's kind of a cool site. I don't know if they make any money. I doubt it. I bet these guys, like most of these internet companies, they just burn through cash like no other. But it doesn't really matter. I'm looking for a handful of things. Number one, we know that tech, e-commerce, right, software, all that kind of stuff, those can fly, right? Remember Zoom, right? Things like that, they can really fly. So Fiverr was, of course, something of an interest. So main thing you want to always be doing is like stick it on your watch list, right? So, I'm always keeping them on my watch list, and then, I'll usually let, we wait for the open. Now, the big thing on when you're trading these IPOs, remember RVLV, which was awesome, but some of them end up being duds, like CRWD yesterday, right? Big thing to always kind of remember is like we want to see how it starts to open. The one good thing with Fiverr that kind of got us really pumped is that, the first candle, so when it opened at 10:30, the first dip on it, it held the lows, all right? So when it holds the lows, I'm already like pretty darn excited because I know it's not tanking, right? Like some of these IPOs, they boost them up so high before it actually even opens that there's nowhere to go. So like CRWD yesterday, you know, they were saying it's going to launch at like 30 bucks. Then it said 35 bucks. And then, you know, when it actually ended up opening, it opened up at like in the darn 60s, right? So it ended up being like up 100% without even really trading, or at least letting us trade. So that's no good, right? So Fiverr, the dip holds at the opens. That's my first telltale sign, right? Now it's just a matter of waiting for an entry. So for those of you guys that have been with me for a while, right, we know a handful of things. What do we look for at the open for our opening patterns, right? We look for ORBs, quick pullback buys, red to green, so on and so forth. So this stock opens at 10:30. We want to use the same tactics that we would if it was 9:30 in the morning and this stock just opened and it had like some kind of news out, right? So we treat it like a gapper. So as this thing busts up, you know, the whole point is just to hit this thing on the ORB. So, you know, for us, like, I mean, I'm rocking this thing right at the breakout spot and like it's game on at that point. So, you know, I'm trading live in our chat room every single day and, you know, kind of giving everybody the plays. And I'm on video. So, you know, typing stuff out is so stupid, right? Like everybody's got their Discord chat rooms and stuff and they're sitting there typing. But if you can't see it, like see somebody's screen and have them actually talking you through, it's harder to follow along. So I'm typing out the orders and stuff too, but I'm calling these things out live on screen share because it's important so you can start to see the patterns and connect the dots, right? The big thing with trading is like, can you see a pattern and then connect the dot? So I want to hit this thing on an ORB as it breaks the opening range. So this is my first ad just as this thing starts to break out. And then it's just a matter of just shredding, right? So I want to like, I don't want to, big thing with this is you don't want to sell too early for a few pennies. Remember that it's an IPO. Remember that it's a range. And I want to make sure, like, I want to at least like start looking to potentially sell once I cover my risk times a few. So, you know, if my risk is down to over here, then I want to make sure I'm at least getting like $1.50, $2 before I start to scale out. So, you know, I took my first scale out into the 2970s, you know, which gets you a couple points. And then it's just, right, I'm scaling out all along the way, you know, into the spike and then reloading essentially. So what we ended up doing is, you know, we ended up reloading this thing a handful of times as it starts to go. So once you have, you know, and I didn't catch the top on this, right? So I scaled out of my last ones in the 30s. And so it's like an 8-minute trade. Awesome, right? Why hold on to something the whole day if you can make the money quickly? Now, what I'll do if it has a strong move like this, I always keep lotto shares. I want to keep lotto shares so that I can build my position while still having a really good average if I get another pattern, right? So we're kind of shredding in and out, letting it build. As day traders, our job is to add risk when we see it at opportune times. So what we want to do is keep some lottos, and then if the setup starts to avail itself, we want to go. So now I made a telltale mistake on the second ad on this. So what can you see here? So as this thing started to go, you know, I re-added this little sucker as it broke this trend line here. But one of the things, like for those of you guys who've been with me a while, right? So this thing broke here, this trend line, and so I re-added it. What was I missing on this? Does anybody know? I know this is a YouTube video, so it's not like you guys are talking back to me, but I'm being kind of rhetorical. So the pattern was too loose, right? If I add it up here and the 9 EMAs down here, the pattern's going to be too loose. Once the EMAs start to show up after you get an IPO breakout, the EMAs will start to catch up. They'll rip and ride, slip and slide as they catch up to provide support and demand. So buying up here is not going to work because it's probably going to come back and test. And so that's what ended up happening. You know, it ended up coming back. So I ended up as it broke out here and then it failed back and got back in the range. You know, I sold out of it. I took $1 loss on the thing, right? So I lost 1 point on my second trade. And now I'm out even the lotto shares. Good, right? But as this thing starts to hold back at the 9 and I get a green candle to hold, then I know it's game on, right? Now the pattern has started to tighten up. And so now it's just a matter of scaling in properly. So I added a little batch here and then I started on confirmation just doubling up, right? Start to double up on the breakout, and now we're just off to the races. So we're going to keep selling out of this thing and then just kind of the shred zone as you start to see patterns. So that's how you want to kind of treat the open. You do it like an ORB, and then don't lose track of it, okay? The worst thing you can do, especially in a market like this, is be a jumping bee, right? There's so many stocks going around and you're jumping and jumping and jumping. But if you end up having like a really nice stock that's trending, your job is to keep adding as you see patterns, and I ended up adding some again, near 34, and we're just playing it over and over. So it doesn't have to be too complicated. One thing to remember is like if it doesn't show any patterns, like remember crowd yesterday, there's really no rhyme or reason to it. There was no pattern, there was no trend, right? So like that's something you would leave alone because it's not showing you the trend. In absence of trend, we want to leave it alone. But something like Fiverr or BYND when it came out, if it starts to ORB and trend, then you're good to go. So just be mindful of that. If it's absence of trend, don't get excited if it's an IPO. But if one starts to trend and starts to really ride up its EMAs, dude, you just want to keep dipping and ripping and adding as setups go because it can make your whole month. If you think about it like this, like I know a lot of you guys that have small accounts, you guys don't like trading, stocks that are like above $5, right? Everybody's a penny popper these days. But, if you're even ripping like 200 shares or something like this and you're trading it back and forth, 200 shares, that'd be like 6,000 in buying power. You're taking $2-3 shreds on, and you're buying 200 shares, you're going to take $500, $400, $300, $500, and you're going to do it a few times in the day. Dude, you can end up having a really good day trading really small and letting the range and the momentum work itself out. So hopefully, guys, that helps. I'm going to be doing a webinar next week. We'll talk a little bit more about some of these strategies. I have a couple other ones. Stay tuned. I'll make sure to get you guys the GoToWebinar link. I think it's not going to be this Monday, but the next one. So I'll make sure to get you guys all in there. I know I haven't been doing YouTube Live. I've been at my mom's house. I don't have all the software. I'm on my laptop and stuff right now, but I look forward to working with you guys. And guys, if you guys ever want to hang out in our chat room, you guys are more than welcome to. As always, I'm on video, screen share all day, helping the guys out and trading. We have a pretty cool community. So look forward to seeing some of you guys in there. And then, of course, I'll see the rest of you guys in the webinar next week. If you guys don't mind, give me a thumbs up on these videos. It helps with the YouTube stuff. And as always, I love you guys. Feel free to leave any comments, questions, concerns. And you can always email me at kanal@bullson.ws. And y'all got myself, 517-974-1480. Hit me up anytime. I love chatting with traders. And if anybody's in Michigan, let me know.